One of the most well-known and famous Stoic philosophers of all time is Marcus Aurelius. He was seen as one of the last 5 great Roman emperors of his time, where he ruled from 161 to 180 after Christ. At the time, he held one of the most powerful positions in the world, and if he wanted, he could access all of his temptations and desires and have them fulfilled. But he chose to devote his life to pursuing justice and fairness. Aurelius found the time while he ruled to write Meditations, a collection of autobiographical writings that has grown to be one of the most important pieces of the Stoic philosophy. In his writings, Marcus provided instructions for personal development. These were mostly concerned with adopting a cosmic viewpoint and critically evaluating your judgment of others and yourself. Aurelius utilized his own Stoic philosophy when ruling a strong empire that endured several battles to let go of tension and worry, and to be the most capable and dependable leader he could be. Next to that, Stoicism is not only a theory, it is also a highly well-known and centuries-old philosophy that shows an inspiring and motivating way of thinking and living. The Stoics had a strong belief that acting morally was the key to achieving personal satisfaction, and that acting morally required good judgment and reasonable thought. With that in mind, in this video we will discuss how to create a rational mind using 5 key concepts from Marcus Aurelius's teachings that can help you think more clearly. Lesson 1. Train your perception. Marcus Aurelius says, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Controlling your perspective is one of Stoicism's most important values. Every interaction we have, every event we go through, every person we meet, even the scenes we view, all receive a value judgment from us. It was either good or awful, dull or enjoyable, beautiful or ugly. Unbeknownst to us, this is an extremely draining practice that might negatively impact our lives. For instance, judging every interaction you have had on a difficult day makes the day in general seem much worse. If you describe a party you attended as boring, that's all it will be. That one dull moment throughout your week. We frequently allow our emotions to dictate our early assessments of things, which implies that they are probably not totally unbiased. Additionally, we have a propensity to speak in metaphors and exaggerations that make situations appear worse, which goes hand in hand with our predisposition to criticize every minute of our lives. If your spouse leaves you, you could refer to your ex as having broken your heart, rather than admitting that they no longer feel the same way about you. Your feelings are influenced by the way you think and speak. The way you unknowingly choose to think about the incident, rather than the event itself, is what gives you negative feelings. In contrast, the Stoics advise individuals to use caution while making decisions and to carefully consider all they experience. One approach to being careful is to reverse your judgments, which simply means to look past them, be able to forget your initial instinct, and view anything through a more positive and rational lens. You may try to reframe that dull party as an opportunity to explore a different location and interact with some new people. Make an effort not to judge others. Afterward, you could realize that nobody truly connected with you, but you didn't go into the situation expecting anything bad to happen. The best way to begin retraining your perspective on life is to practice not judging everything based on your first impulses and feelings. Every time you have an opinion on something, try to ask yourself, is this rational? What is the foundation for my opinion? Is there a more accurate or optimistic interpretation of this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that damages can only exist if they are thought of as such. This implies that each difficult event you have had looks more difficult than you think it is. As a result, you are in total control of the degree to which certain circumstances influence you. The Stoics also remind you to look for the opportunity or source of good in any negative event. The task known as turning the obstacle upside down is a method of developing a Stoic perspective. For example, you could experience dissatisfaction if a new employee is a slow learner and their errors reduce the company's profitability. This employee gets in the way of your efforts to be successful, efficient, and profitable. But this situation can also present an opportunity for good. You will get the chance to develop your patience, become a better instructor, learn how to integrate new employees into the team, and practice handling stressful situations. All of these abilities should help you make more money in the long term and be valuable in the future. On this topic, the classic quote from Marcus goes, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Overall, if you take the time to look at things objectively rather than exaggerating what you see, you can discover that life is simpler and clearer than you had previously imagined. Every scenario can be seen more positively or negatively. After you make the necessary mental adjustments, nothing will annoy you as much as it did, and you will navigate life much more successfully. Lesson 2. Learn to control your emotions. Marcus Aurelius encourages us to refrain from allowing our feelings to overcome what our minds are telling us. Put an end to your hypocrisy, selfishness, and irritability. It seems reasonable that acting irrationally is frequently represented as being in sharp contrast to acting out of emotion. Nothing may impair our judgment more than our own feelings. Therefore, if you wish to think properly at all times, one of the most crucial abilities to develop is the capacity to regulate your emotions. Marcus Aurelius believed that rage, in particular, does more harm than good. Contrary to common opinion, trying to regulate your emotions does not entail suppressing them. When you experience strong anger as a result of a betrayal, you cannot suppress it by denying it to yourself or others or by acting as though everything is okay. No matter how far inside you put the anger, it will still be present. According to the Stoics, regulating emotions like rage is accomplished by channeling them in a different direction. Therefore, when you next feel angry, consider what you can do with it. Although it may be tempting, can yelling at the person who injured you make things any better for you? Will it make the person you were deceived by any better? In other words, consider what you are inclined to do, then consider whether it is useful. If not, look for constructive ways to communicate your feelings. Perhaps if you gently discuss your feelings with the person who injured you and attempt to understand their perspective, you can get better outcomes. You may also write in a notebook, work out, play a video game, or do anything else that could help you release your anger eventually. Take anxiety or fear as an additional example. Although you can't just push it down, you can redirect it. Instead of allowing anxiety to paralyze you, you can use this anxiety to encourage yourself. Go do things that make you feel it, and observe its presence throughout. Let's assume you are too afraid to request a raise from your employer. Many individuals use this kind of anxiety as an excuse to avoid taking action and give in to their fears. Others might be able to handle it and view their worry as something that has to be suppressed and ignored since it is getting in the way of moving forward. Neither, though, has to be the case. Instead, you may express your fear in a healthy way, and it might even be beneficial. For instance, this anxiety causes you to contemplate everything that may go wrong, which may cause you to think about all the questions your supervisor might ask, all the arguments they might make against you, and how to reply. You may prepare yourself for them and create a strategy for every circumstance in this way. The fear, however, serves as a powerful motivator to push through, to test yourself and to better yourself. To overcome your fear, partially because of it, take the step in order to show yourself that you can. In such a case, you can be conscious of your fear the entire time and say, "How awesome that I'm trying this anyway." Your capacity to remain cool under pressure and to think clearly and wisely will never be hindered by your emotions if you can easily redirect powerful emotions. The secret to a more calm existence is emotional self-control. Lesson 3. Exercise the dichotomy of control. Marcus Aurelius says, "Only you have power over your own mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The dichotomy of control is the contrast between what we can control and what we cannot. For instance, you have no influence over the climate, the pace of traffic, or the opinions of others. However, you can have some control over your appearance, departure time, and the company that you surround yourself with. Anytime you are in a situation that makes you feel a certain way, ask yourself, what can I control? You should take action on whatever you can influence. Learn to accept and love what you cannot change without letting it influence you. You can quickly clear your thoughts if you can learn to differentiate between these two things and respond accordingly. The Latin phrase, amor fati, or love of fate, is a crucial component of the dichotomy of control. You will always enjoy life if you accept all of the circumstances that it provides. You cannot change your circumstances or avoid fate, but you can decide to enjoy your life no matter what. When you are denied a job you have been applying for years, you could believe there's no way out of this scenario. You tried to get the job, but you were unsuccessful. In this situation, pretending to love fate is impossible. This is a misconception, though. Investigate what caused the undesirable outcome and utilize it to your advantage to make a positive move rather than seeing the fact that you did not achieve your goal as merely a negative. It's possible that you failed and that's why you weren't hired. In that case, you have some influence over the situation. When a comparable chance presents itself in the future, you may improve upon those shortcomings and give it another shot. Other possibilities include nepotism or a personality conflict with a member of the hiring team as the cause. There's no use becoming outraged over something that has never existed since you never had control over it, which means the chance was never really there. Accepting fate entails detaching oneself from a predetermined conclusion as well as external indicators of success. If, for instance, you want to be a writer and gauge your success based on how many copies of your book are sold, you will allow the arbitrary book market of the time to determine your level of success. However, you are in charge of your success if you decide to gauge it based on your level of satisfaction with the final result or the amount of effort you put into it. So by all means, make sure to do everything you can to reach your goals, but never lose sight of the chance that you may not succeed in doing so, and embrace this possibility in advance. One will find themselves calm if they focus exclusively on the things they can control and make a commitment to accept everything else as it is. Love fate no matter what happens. Lesson 4. Embrace the virtues. Quoting Marcus Aurelius, "Delve deep within yourself, for a wellspring of goodness is ready to gush forth if you persist in your quest." A virtue can be thought of as a quality of character, or to put it another way, morally righteous conduct. Such actions are advantageous to you, the people around you, and the greater good. Stoicism believes in an interconnected cosmos in which everything and everyone is linked. As a result, what helps the greater good eventually benefits you. Thus, the Stoics felt that individuals who were most in tune with reason were those who committed themselves to the greater good. In other words, they practiced their virtues. The absence of good behavior, on the other hand, is attributed to ignorance by the Stoics. When life throws you into unexpected situations, virtues may be your guiding lights, keeping you on track and grounded. This is why those who are best gifted with virtue frequently exude peace and tranquility. To be virtuous, one must internalize Stoicism's 4 cardinal virtues: knowledge, justice, bravery, and temperance. Wisdom is the ability to distinguish between what is good, what is bad, what is neutral, and everything in between. It means letting reason dictate what is ethically correct rather than emotions. When faced with a problem, knowledge enables you to weigh both possibilities objectively. Justice depends on wisdom, which is an allegiance to what is fair and equal for both oneself and others. The Stoics saw it as a duty to oneself, one's fellow people, and society as a whole: courage. The third virtue allows people to act even when they are afraid. It motivates you to act for the greater good or complete activities despite the uncertainty of the consequences. Courage does not imply the absence of fear, desire, or anxiety, but rather the deliberate decision to keep going and conquer emotional boundaries. Temperance, often known as moderation, refers to keeping a balanced route between extremes. It requires self-control, restriction, and discipline. Temperance prioritizes long-term well-being over short-term pleasure. Consider this simple example: a bag of chips. Consuming the full bag may provide temporary pleasure, but it jeopardizes health and even mood. Temperance in this context is halting after a few bites. Wisdom is useful in determining how much to consume before quitting. Stoicism divides objects and behaviors into 3 categories: good, evil, and indifference. Seeking the good, avoiding evil, and accepting indifference were fundamental values. Deviating from these values was connected with encouraging evil, for example, stealing, rudeness, and recklessness, or refraining from good. Indifferent behaviors, such as a leisurely stroll, accomplished neither. These principles provide more than simply personal improvement. They cultivate a condition of calm composure. Aligning your activities with these characteristics assures that you constantly travel the road of righteousness, led by reason, and so create a calm mind. Lesson 5. Embrace a broader perspective. Marcus Aurelius brilliantly reflects Plato's wisdom in our final quote. Whenever you want to talk about people, it's best to take a bird's-eye view and see everything all at once. Adopting a broader perspective is a crucial part of attaining mental clarity. In the middle of life's rush and bustle, we frequently find ourselves consumed by every concern. Each struggle feels as if it holds the weight of the world. Consider yourself in a small group of people. It may look like the entire city is drowning in traffic. However, adjusting your perspective a few steps away might show an altogether different world. In essence, when we separate and observe the enormous tapestry of our universe and life, we realize how insignificant our own experiences are in the larger scheme of things. This shift in viewpoint reveals the vast environment that lies beyond our immediate communication. People frequently forget the fact that their own experiences and perspectives aren't the only ones worthy of attention, even within their own lives. Consider someone who has had a bad experience with pets. Unless people deliberately embrace the potential of different experiences, they may find it difficult to comprehend that dogs may be valued friends to others. It's important to take a step back now and again and ask yourself, what am I missing or failing to understand? This introspective practice has several advantages. Consider the possibility of having to choose between staying in your current position or seeking a newly open opportunity elsewhere. Such a choice may appear difficult, especially if you are unsure whether either alternative will meet your goals. While your current position provides security and you are nervous about the increased duties that come with a promotion, the allure of a higher salary entices you. You may feel trapped in this situation. However, beneath the surface, there is a wealth of untapped potential. Have you considered going into a whole other industry or starting a side business to go alongside your current job? Perhaps you can shift your attention away from less enticing tasks by immersing yourself in a hobby. It's absolutely possible that many untapped paths in life are going unnoticed by you. Adopting a broad perspective rather than focusing primarily on present problems helps greatly in making informed decisions. Broadening your scope is useful not only for choosing priorities but also for forming your thoughts in order to build a complete judgment. It is critical to analyze all aspects and options in a particular circumstance. Furthermore, standing back means removing yourself from personal prejudices and opinions. Momentarily giving up your goals might provide a new perspective, encouraging you to think about others around you and your duties to them. In the heat of the moment, an action like littering may appear unimportant. When you pause and broaden your view to include the entire globe and the possible implications if everyone followed this example, the insignificance of your tendency to litter becomes shockingly apparent in comparison to the planet's well-being. As previously said, the Stoics believed that everything in the world is interrelated, and that the well-being of the world increases your personal well-being. Thus, when faced with a decision, difficulty, challenge, or change in life, it is extremely important to take a step back and look at the world as a whole rather than just your life. You can internally ask yourself some questions, either now or at a later moment. For example, when going for a stroll or vlogging about your day. This was something Aurelius was really fond of. The most typical questions to ask oneself are, what are the long-term consequences of my decision or action? How may someone else's point of view be different from mine? Do I know someone in a comparable circumstance or with comparable objectives to mine who might help me? Does my decision or action have an impact on my well-being? Does it have an impact on the well-being of others around me? Is there anything else I should think about? Taking the time to consider all aspects of the world helps you understand your actions, thoughts, life, and choices more clearly. And it helps you in the way that it allows you to help the world. When you consider the whole picture, you will always have an overseeing view that leaves you free from unnecessary restraint, bias, or doubt. That was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We really hope this video has given you the tools to improve your mindset. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Is there anything missing that you would love to see next? Please let us know in the comments section. If you have watched the video until the end, please respond with MMM, Master Motivational Mindset, so we can connect. Want to see more? On screen, the next video will come up that could help you further in your Stoic and personal journey.